Welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. Yes, I'm a couple of minutes late tonight, but at least I showed up. So I guess that's kind of good, right? Yes, no, I've had crazy busy days these last couple of days, this last week, a couple of new clients that have been sucking up a whole lot of my time. But I've been able to get back as best I can. I apologize if I haven't been as aggressive as I have been in the past, but I'm still here listening as always, saying hi as always, and even going live on Instagram. Isn't that crazy? Yes, I am. So why did I want to have a chat tonight? Usually I have like something I think about for days or weeks. Recently, I haven't been doing that. I've been pulling stuff like, oh, that's happening. And then, of course, what really happened here is I wanted to cover kind of, I'm actually, what am I going to say here? What's the word I'm going to use? I am pleasantly surprised on how active Trump has been these first couple of days. Now, some things I'm not happy about. Doesn't matter. He's active. And that is what we wanted, right? So even though some people are like, this is a bad thing, I don't like what he's doing, I get it. But he's really trying to make this first 100 days a big deal. And I am impressed that he's doing that, right? I'm impressed. He is making some enemies, though, what he's doing, which is, again, we knew this. We knew he was going to shake things up. It's what most people voted for, clearly. I mean, it's true. And he's doing it. So well done on that regard. The question is, are we happy with the things that he's doing, right? Are people who don't like Trump are saying, oh, see, look what's happening. Just look at what you're getting. You fools, you've all been tricked. He's a crazy man, blah, blah, blah. People who are pro-Trump are like, nope, he's doing what he said, blah, 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 right? The reality of it is, I think that most people knew this kind of thing was coming. Probably didn't know the specifics. Some people did. But the average American probably was like, all I know is it ain't working. We'll take whatever he's going to throw at us. And he's throwing stuff at us. The first thing I must bring up, which is, I'm going to say I'm taking my privilege as the host of the show to talk about the thing that affects me directly, affects my people. Yes, my people, my libertarian people the most, is freeing Ross Ulbricht. This piece, and I know a lot of you were like, wait a minute, Larry, these are the deal that he made. He's not going to do it. And you all know, I was skeptical. Absolutely, I was skeptical. So what did I do? I said, if you remember, I said, you know what? It wasn't day one. I'll give him till day two. I knew libertarians weren't his number one issue. I was aware of that. And I said, I'm not going to say anything until day two. Remember that? Everybody said, she said day one. I said, I'm going to give him till day two. It's fine. I wish libertarians were his number one priority. I wish that were true. I'm a realist, but not his number one priority. But I said, I'll take day two. And he did it. Well done. Well done, President Trump. You did free Ross. Now, for those of you who don't know who Ross Ulbrich was, he was the guy who made Silk Road. And you might go, Silk Road, was that dark web thing? Yes, indeed it was. That is correct. It was that dark road thing that allowed people to buy and sell, not being controlled at all by the government. Why would a libertarian want that? Pretty obvious. But anyway, the point being, some people don't like that he, that he's a bad guy, did bad things. Okay, maybe you're right. Here is the problem. He was not put in jail because he sold drugs or something like that. He personally did not do any of that. Or because he threatened somebody. He probably did that. But lots of people threaten people and they do a couple years in jail, or they pay a fine, or they get slap on the wrist. He got 2 life sentences plus 40 years. Let me say it again. The horrible embarrassment of a judge. Wait a minute, Larry Sharpe, are you going to attack judges again? Why, yes, I am. The horrible judge gave him 2 life sentences plus 40 years. So after you died twice, you still got to stay in jail 40 years. That's what the judge, with, by the way, no chance of parole. So if you go, wait a minute, this guy did something bad. Okay, so 2 life sentences plus 40 years, no chance parole. No, what he got convicted of, and this is why it's so right for him to be free, is avoiding the government. That's what he got convicted of. He got convicted of not accepting the establishment. His crime was sacrilege. That was his crime. His crime was not saying bad things. He himself didn't kill anybody. He himself didn't harm anybody. He himself did not sell anything bad. That's like, we all know that's true. He didn't do that. Did he facilitate it through that? Yes. Well, so has Gmail, so has Google, so has Amazon. All of them going to jail? Are all of them going to jail for 2 life sentences plus 40 years? Is Bezos going to jail for that? You tell me that people having sold bad stuff on Amazon? Is Bezos going to jail for 2 life sentences plus 40 years? No. He's in the White House, basically, right? Is Elon going to? No. He did. Because his crime was sacrilege. Don't forget that. His crime was sacrilege. And sacrilege, first of all, you don't have to be proven guilty. You're assumed guilty when you're accused of sacrilege or heresy, either of those two. This one is sacrilege. So, okay, what's going on here? Well, you can't prove you didn't do it, so you go away forever, because how dare you attack the church of the U.S. government? How dare you? That's the biggest piece. Phil goes on to say, Facebook is one of the largest marketplaces for child material. Yes. So is Zuckerberg going to jail for 2 life sentences, 40 years? No. So he's out. He should be out. I'm glad he's out. And I have zero, if you're mad at me for that, I guess you're mad at me for that, because I'm not changing my mind that the symbolism that he represents, they only did, I should say, transactions there on cryptocurrency. Yes, it was the anti-government place. It was the Silk Road. And that's why he went away. One more time, so you guys who think I'm nuts, one more time, 2 life sentences plus 40 years, no parole. Jeffrey Dahmer, the guy who tricked, drugged, raped, killed, and 8 people, got less than that. And multiple, like people, not one person. He did it more than once. Jeffrey Dahmer, I want to be clear. Tricked, drugged, trapped, raped, killed, then 8 people, physically ate them, got less than him. Because the worst crime you can do, the worst crime, is sacrilege. Not mass murder. No. Not even cannibalism. No. The worst crime you can do is sacrilege. And you wonder why I talk so much against the government. Remember, the worst crimes in the world are not crimes against your fellow human. No. They are crimes against the government. Not against your fellow human. Against the government. And that is why I am so glad he is free. He should be free. I hope, I may be full of myself, but I'm going to hope anyway because I want to. I'm going to hope that this is a sign for the future. I'm going to hope that somehow people realize who the people were involved, because President Trump, to his credit, he called the people who put him away, the prosecutors and the judges, his words, he called them scum. It is rare that you hear me openly praise Trump. It is rare. I will give him credit where credit is due. In this one, President Trump, you deserve my praise. Well done. I like how you brought up Libertarian movement, which was awesome. Thank you for bringing us up. Appreciate it. Did what you're going to do. Appreciate it. He's out now. And called all of them scum. Well done. There we go. Kim says, the man who murdered my brother was sentenced to 60 years. Yes, Kim, I'm so sorry you lost your brother. With that in mind, think about that. So some guy murdered your family member. He got 60 years. Ross killed no one. was directly involved in no one's harm. I'm not making this up. That's factual. Was directly involved in no one's harm. No one, not a person. 2 life sentences, plus 40 years, no parole. Sacrilege, Kim, is more of a crime than murder. I've been saying this for years. I've taken 2 top crimes in America, sacrilege and heresy. Two worst. I have watched people go to jail for sacrilege and heresy more than once. I'm working on a case now that is sacrilege. Same thing. Avoiding the banking system. You avoid the banking system, that's sacrilege. Straight to jail. Right to jail. Yes, you got to go. So I'm glad you brought that up because that's what was so wrong. And he did 11 years anyway. And worse for him, prime of his life. 29 to 40. Prime years. Gone. He lost 11 of his prime years. Look, he's still 40. He's got time to do something great still. He does. But he still lost 11 prime years that he wasn't trying to do something great, build something up, whatever. Right? So now he's got to rebuild all that stuff. And his mom was ill. She's alive and she survived. So awesome. She gets to see him. So yes, that appreciate that. So yes. Phil says, Kim, if you don't mind, tell us something that he taught you in life. Keep his memory alive. That is very sweet, Phil. Thank you for that. Yes. Michael says, yes, I give Trump credit for freeing Ross as well. And this is coming from someone who hates his policy with regard to foreign policy, immigration, etc. But I give him credit for freeing Ross. Yeah, look, I've been open. I have been skeptical of Trump. I've said things that aren't great and good. I've tried to give credit where credit's due. You're right, Michael. We should always, I know people don't, because it's very easy if you lean left or lean right to simply assign all the bad qualities to the opposite side, right? If you lean left, the right is bad in every way. They're always bad. If you lean right, the left is bad in every way, no matter what. I'm saying, no, we should always give credit where credit is due, no matter who the person is. If they're doing it right, the right thing we like, we should say, okay, yes, that thing was correct. Why should we do that? There's several reasons why we should, Michael, and I'm glad you're doing this. Number one is, if we're doing it, shows that we can be fair. So now, Michael, when you start saying, I don't like this or I don't like that, people go, oh, no, this is Michael. He's fair because he said this thing about this. Okay, he's fair. That's the part, that we want to have for ourselves. But second, if we're doing it, then maybe we're thinking clearer. Think about it. Do you know a guy or a gal who every time something goes wrong, they blame their opposite? So if they're left-leaning, they blame Republicans no matter what, or the conservative, no matter what happens. My car broke down. It's because conservatives, blah, 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 right? We don't even listen to them anymore. It's like, fine, I get it. Republicans are bad, whatever. Or reverse. Every time something's bad, it's because the Democrats or whatever, right? We do the same thing. We go, oh, fine, I get it. Democrats bad. But we don't really hear them. We know what they're going to say already. We know what it is. But when you're able to give credit where credit is due, people hear you more. And you're probably thinking clearer. And the last piece, if someone's going to make a change towards you, move, if you're left, they want to move left, you're right, will move right. If you tell them, hey, well done, you increase the odds in them doing so. And lastly, you give them a place to go when they want to rebel against their party. And that's what we want. So yes. Anyway, I just want to bring that up if I could. So I'm looking over at Rumble, and Straight Ann says, Ulbricht did enough time. Agreed. 100%. Yes, absolutely. Straight Ann also goes on to say, Biden wrote a nice letter to President Trump. Can TV news say that about a spin? And I'm gonna, you know what? Thank you for that, Straight Ann. Since I'm being so good, I'm going to say something nice about Biden. I am. Biden did leave a nice letter for Trump. That's true. It wasn't mean. It wasn't nasty. It was, hey, it wasn't like you got to do these things. Nothing. He said, the world's looking at you, man. Good luck. I pray for you. That's a nice letter. Biden could have left nothing, or he could have been a jerk. He did neither of those things. He left a nice letter. Well done, Biden. So yeah, see that? We can give both sides a little bit of credit when credit is due. There we go. All righty. So Kim says, he was only 15. He taught me taking care of siblings was in reality a blessing. Oh. Kim, I recently heard something from Arnold Schwarzenegger. I saw it in some post somewhere online. I don't remember where I saw it. Maybe it was an article or something. he said, there are 4 words that are key to happiness in life. It was stay busy, be useful. That made sense to me. And what you're saying, Kim, is, taking care of siblings really makes you useful. It really gives you purpose. And sometimes when it's happening, and I'm sure, Kim, you felt this, you don't think it, or you don't believe it, or it seems like a burden, or it seems like it's, why me, or whatever, right? Many times it does feel that way when it's happening at the time. But I think often when you look back, yeah, it was, you do learn that it was the right thing. It was good. It did make you better in many ways, and make you think differently about people and make you feel useful. I think you're right. I remember when my dad was passing when I was a kid. I was 11, 12 when he was dying. I remember spending a lot of time with him in boring places. When my dad got very sick, he had cancer. He became so weak and frail, he couldn't do many physical hobbies, and he liked to be physical, but he couldn't anymore. He was like 5'11", 98 pounds. I mean, he was just, for those who remember, this is 70s. For those who remember how or have seen anyone who's gone through chemo, it's destroyed him. It ripped his body to pieces. He just lost weight. It was a disaster. And so the only thing he could do was take pictures. He started getting photography, the old school cameras. We had digital back then, regular cameras. And he wanted to go to an arboretum, and take pictures of flowers and trees and stuff, because it was still photography he got into. I went with him. What 11, 12-year-old boy wants to go to the arboretum to look at flowers and trees? None. But I did, because I want to hang out with my dad. I wanted to be with my father. I would have done anything. I don't care. Yes. So I went. And sometimes I was like, this is boring. Is what I thought, right? It's boring. But I look back at it, Kim, so glad I did it. So glad I did it. So, yes, I get obviously my situation is different than yours, clearly, but the concept is very similar. Taking care of someone like that does, yeah. It is the right thing. Kim was going to say, thank you for all your condolences. It happened in 82, but it's a grief that never goes away. Yes, Kim, I think you're right. You will take parts of grief and you will take parts of joy until they put you in a box. You're right. You take it to the grave. You take it all the way. I agree completely. In the long run, as I feel for my father now, and you probably feel it now. It's been, my father died a few years before that, but same time frame about. I look back at it now, and while I do have still some sad memories and sad thoughts, of course, overall, I remember more of the joy and the fun than anything else. I have much more of a positive emotion. I mean, I literally have it. That's his flag. If you see the flag in the background, American flag, that's his flag. He was a veteran. And when he died, my mom got his flag. And then when she died, she gave it to me. Well, I took it because I'm her only son. So I got the flag when my mom died. So she got the flag when he died. And then when she died, I got the flag. That's my dad's flag. So I look at it much more positively than I did years ago. So I think I told some of you the story. When I was a kid and he died, my brain literally shut out the day that he died. I could not remember it. It was completely didn't happen. Total defense mechanism. My brain was like, nope. I couldn't remember when I was told he died. I couldn't remember the day he died. Nothing. I knew my dad died. I couldn't tell you when and how. That's how bad it was. So yes. Joel goes on to say, 60s and 70s cancer treatments were worse than disease at the time. Yes, accurate. I watched it. Yes. So Juan's excited that Ross is free. Thanks for Trump and Angela for making this happen. I still wish that people and judge who put him in jail be held accountable, but I will take this as a win for that. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, judges be accountable. One can only hope, but I don't think. But yes, I hope so. I'm with you on the hope part, but yes. So I'm glad we wrote the Ross piece. And Kim, thank you for sharing that. I think sharing that kind of thing makes other people think about their life in a different way. So thank you for that. You know, I don't mind sharing my life also. But I want to move on, if I could, to another piece that has been happening these last couple of days after that one. And that is the blanket pardon of the J day after 5. I'm going to call them the 116ers. How about that? The 16ers. The blanket pardon. And boy, were people unhappy with that. They really were. And I'm talking about that. Before I go there, guys, if you like what you're hearing and you want to keep this going, click the button known as like. I keep bugging you for this. Why? Because you know I get shadow banned. You know I do. You see me 1,000 times get shadow banned. You watch my numbers go up and all of a sudden, boom, to nothing. You watched it. If you watch me, you see it happen all the time. If you click the like button, the more you click it, the better. The better chance that Mr. Rhythm, first name Al, second name Gore, Mr. Rhythm, decides to send this out so people can see it. It does matter. Share this and repost it. Put it into a Facebook group. Share it on X. Share it on you. Who cares? Share it someplace. The more you share it. Also, he likes that too. Please do that. If you have not subscribed, you are literally saying you hate me. And I know you don't because you're watching. Actually, that's true. You could be hate watching. Okay. Even if you enjoy hate watching, you still enjoy the show. So subscribe anyway. Click that follow button. And most important piece, I think I told you this. I checked recently. Only 14% of the people who are subscribers clicked all notifications. 14%. You might be one of those 14%. Make sure when you subscribed, you might be one of those 86%, that you click all notifications. That's how you get the notification that you know I'm on. Please do that. You can also super chat me if you want to here on YouTube or here on Rumble. You can also rant me. You can also become a member if you want to. Member on YouTube, $49 per month. Click that join button. Larry, you may drop $49 per month. Yeah, I do. So I can do less work and more of this. Yes. I can do like 9,000 shows a week. Yes. So do that, please. Yes. Or become a member on Rumble. But if you are like Lunatic Libertarian, only do it if you have the cash. Do not put yourself in trouble to do this. I'm not trying to hurt people. But if you got it, you could do it. And remember, you say to yourself, Larry, $5. That's a cup of coffee. Yes, don't have so much coffee. Have me instead. I will excite you. Am I not entertaining? Are you not entertained? You are. Better than coffee. It's better than coffee. Don't have one Starbucks. You're fine. You're fine. Don't do one Starbucks. Do me instead. See that? That sounded sexy, didn't it? It's fine. Whatever. I don't care. I'm a libertarian. You do you. All good. So anyway, let me keep going if I could. The piece I want to bring up here, though, is the 1/6ers. The part that I think is a mistake here for him. I think the blanket pardon was a mistake. I do. It was a mistake. And the reason is, if you were to go through and he was slightly picked, then it doesn't seem like it is vindictive or anything like that. It seems like he went through and thought and decided and picked and chose. Even though he wouldn't have done it, obviously, he would have had his team go through. I mean, I get it, it's a team. He would have his team go through and go to this guy did this guy did that, blah, blah, blah. You might go, Larry, does it matter? Okay. Does it matter in the long run? No. To be fair, it doesn't. In the long run, it doesn't. Right now, most people, this is going to bounce off of most people. But for some people, it's going to stick in their craw, particularly law enforcement. Larry, cops love him. Overall, they do. They do. That's true. But already more than one union has made a comment about this. They didn't like that. What the cops wanted was the people who didn't attack the cops go free. We don't care. Those who attack cops got to pay. That's what cops wanted to hear. They didn't hear that. What they heard is, they spend enough time in jail, get them out. Cops did not like that. Again, does it mean all of a sudden people hate Trump? No, doesn't mean that all of a sudden. Does it mean all of a sudden, this, that? No, doesn't mean, no, it doesn't. But it does mean that they're going to remember it. That is like a little strike he's got. He's like a little strike, right? A little strike. He's got a little one. So that's a piece that I think we do have to, he needs to be concerned about. Second, most Americans, when it comes to a blanket pardon, don't like this. They've done polling on it already. They do not like it. So he put a strike on most Americans. Now, some Americans are like, I don't care. Pardon them all good. But most Americans, it's like most Americans, and then when it comes to like Republicans, it's like 30% of Republicans or something like that are like, this was wrong. I think this was a mistake. I think the blanket pardon was a mistake. I think he shouldn't have done it. And I feel like, and I don't know this, but I feel like this was like, go to hell, guys. This was his like, I don't care. Not the right time to do it. Not the right place to do it. It's gonna hit, right? And I think, Kim, you got it perfectly. He says, you say the Fauci pardon really chaps it, but yeah, I feel like that was almost like a take that, right? Trump can be very petty. No one, shocker, I know. Oh my God, surprise. Trump can be petty. I know. No, I get it. He can be very petty. And here comes Biden pardoning everybody, blanket pardon. You get a pardon, you get a, and your pardon lasts, I don't know, 10 years. He's given out blanket, Biden gave out blanket 10, 12, 14-year pardons, just blanket pardons, right? Your pardon for like 30 years, whatever he did, with crazy stuff, right? I think Trump was like, is that, you doing that? Oh, how about that? Boom, J6, all of them. I said the words, sorry. 1-6ers, all of them, boom. Right? I think it could have been that. I think it could have been that. So, Kim, you're upset. A lot of people, me too. Like, I'm with you. I hate that. But I would not have done the opposite, if that makes any sense. I would not have been petty like that. But yes, I don't doubt he did something like that. I think that was a mistake for doing that at all. So let me grab a couple more of these comments if I can. All righty. Kim says, photography is my favorite hobby of mine. It is a good hobby. My daughter likes it. My daughter's an artist and she likes it too. She actually bought an old school just camera, like not a phone, a straight camera to just take pictures because she wanted that. So yes. Phil says, most people hate how much they enjoy the show. Yes. There we go. Kim's a 14%. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate that. Yes. All righty. Let's see here. Rick says, it's like a blanket party. I'm not sure it's that. I think all our politicians that need a blanket party, got a bar of soap, got a sock. Yeah, for those who know what a blanket party is, if you've ever watched the movie Full Metal Jacket, the scene at the end of the boot camp scenes where the one Private Pyle is making so many problems with everybody, they hold down both sides of his sheets of his bed, so he's stuck, so he can't move. So the sheets are over him, and they on each side they hold it. It's like a bunk bed, and they hold him down so he can't move. And they take their soap because they don't have any weapons, right? So they put their soap inside the socks, and they hit him with the sock. It's called a blanket party. So they hit him with a bar of soap in a sock, and they smash him. So I think some of them would deserve that. Absolutely. So Margaret becomes a member. Thank you. Every member counts. Thank you so much, Margaret. I really appreciate it. The support is well appreciated. Thank you. So, all right, let me grab some of these. And Missy says free Dexter Taylor. That would be nice. The problem is, Missy, is we can't. That's not a federal crime. So he could try to get Hochul to do it, but he can't do it, right? He can say it, but he can't do it. It's Hochul will have to do it. That's the issue. Now, could he negotiate? He could, but he doesn't care about Dexter enough, right, to do it. So, I mean, Hochul's going to want tens of billions of dollars. I'm not joking, right? Remember, that's the plan. The plan of California and the plan of New York is Uncle Joe writes me checks. Well, Uncle Joe is gone. He ain't writing checks anymore. Too bad. So now they got to hope Uncle Don writes checks. Well, Uncle Don could negotiate. That's not a bad idea. So if they do that, yeah. Robert says, I think the elected Congress will be pretty angry about yes, and they are. There are Republicans now who are in the Congress who are not happy. I think it's a mistake. We'll find out if I'm right or I'm wrong. Look, it's not like a fatal flaw. It's not the end of the world. It isn't the end of the world, but it's a mistake. It's petty, and it's part of he's burned political capital he didn't need to burn. That makes any sense. He did burn some political candles. He did burn some political capital. He didn't need to. And he did. So, yes. Margaret says, Larry, are you aware of the government prosecution of the LaRouche movement in the late 1980s, 1990s? Yes, 100%. I know a lot of LaRoucheites here in New York. Diane Sayers, a friend of mine, she's a LaRoucheite. She actually worked directly with him before he passed. She ran for Senate. She ran for Senate twice here in New York. So, yeah. One fundraiser got a 77-year sentence for getting political loans contributions. Yes, because the LaRoucheites are against the system. Heresy. The LaRoucheites, by default, are all guilty of heresy. As I said, the worst two crimes in America are not murder. No. The worst two crimes, sacrilege, heresy. Right? So Ross got convicted of sacrilege. That guy got convicted of heresy. Yes, of course. So when you are anti-establishment, you must be punished. That's right in line. Excuse me, Margaret. I didn't know that it was specifically 77 years, but I completely believe it. And I know there's been a lot. There is not as much punishment of the LaRouchites today as there was in the 90s. It was worse in the 90s for sure. Look, it's not great now, but relatively, right? I guess it's how bad is it, right? So relatively, LaRouchites don't get nowhere near as much. And I think the reason is in those days, I'm assuming you were a part of it. It's not why you know. I'm assuming you were. You'll know then they were much more on an upswing. Like they were making some impact, right? They were doing that, particularly with the people who were like Ross Perot and such. The Ross Perot people and LaRouchites in many cases were working together because they were against the system, right? Even though Ross Perot wasn't necessarily a LaRouchite, but they had a common goal and they worked together for a bit. So he actually helped them become a bit more powerful. I remember here, particularly in New York State, I remember that for sure. But since then, LaRouchites haven't been that powerful. The most powerful LaRouchite I've known in New York State has been Diane Sara. I can't think of another one in the past 20 years. I mean, maybe there was one, but I can't think of one. So thank you for that, by the way. I do appreciate the input. So, all righty. All right. So I thought the pardon piece was a big thing. Kim says the blanket pardon was not fair. Agreed. Phil says, is the blanket pardon a repudiation of oath prosecution? It is. And that's what he said. That's what he said, right? He was like, these people are bad. It's just like what I dealt with. So yes, I think it was petty. I think it was petty. So yes. All right, let me grab the next name. You guys already bring it up. Andrew says, who's going to bet the Birthright Act thing is going to go the way of the travel ban from early 2017? Okay. For those of you who don't understand what this was about, Andrew's bringing up the idea of the birthright. He's trying to change the Birthright Act. Oh, the birthright, no, not the act. The birthright amendment, which basically says if you are born in America, you are an American. Now, what they would call original sin of slavery, specifically being chattel slavery, which the rest of the world didn't know, right? Our chattel slavery and then our apartheid afterwards has been haunting this country for centuries and still is, and has been a reason for all types of things. Just it's hurting us horribly. We did not deal with this well at all, and it still hurts us. The reason that, for those who don't know, Andrew, since you're Mexican, you probably do know, but for those of you who may not, the concept was to make sure that the former slave states didn't create rules and regulations that would somehow hinder their black population. And the concept was, well, if they're citizens, then you actually like everybody else. That was the concept, right? That clearly did not work and was not the right answer. It wasn't because we would like, whatever, immigrants to come here and be citizens. That wasn't what it was for. But of course, because our judges are incompetent and are terrible, they don't take literally, if you ask judges, they will tell you this to your face. Okay, but the law is obviously garbage, and you know what the intent is. And judge will tell you, the intent doesn't matter. It matters what they wrote. Our judges will tell you that and believe that. How fucking stupid is that? That's what they will tell you. No, it's what they wrote. I don't care what they wrote. What were they trying to achieve? The goal is what matters. Why do you worship the word, particularly of the dung-throwing chimps that we have in our assemblies and our congresses? What's the intent? That is what matters. You are a judge, so judge. You were a judge and not a slave to the words these idiots wrote. Judge. What was the intent? Well, and again, judges will tell you this, right to your face. They'll say the intent doesn't matter. Why? Well, it's what they wrote. How dumb is that? What's wrong with you? You should be smacked in the mouth. What's wrong with you? You are a judge. If you act this way, I don't require you. I will get an algorithm to replace you. You're supposed to be human, be a judge, and go, oh, this was made for former slaves. Got it. That makes total sense. Okay, so we should be applied to others. No, this was made for former slaves. Makes sense. Let's make sure that we take care of the former slaves. Okay, good. That's what it's for. So sadly, Andrew, there needs to be a conversation about birthright. Now, Trump did say something wrong. Trump said no one else does it. That's not true. Other countries do it. Generally speaking, birthright citizenship is a thing that happens only in the new world, in the Americas. Why? Because people were coming here. And they want to make a distinction, because there was so much immigration, between people born here and immigrants coming in. Often they didn't want some guy to come over from Europe, come over here, become president, become dictator, would take over. So many of the country, and again, why many of them picked up birthright. It was either former slaves, because most of the Americas had chattel slavery. So you got to take care of your former slaves, because you've ended it now, number one. Number two, you don't want Europeans coming over here and taking over the country. Right? That was their goal. Got it. Those are two pieces. So that's why that kind of thing mattered. Will the judges take that into account, Andrew? I don't know. I think they'll go, well, the words say this. Sorry, Trump. No. Now, am I against birthright citizenship? I'm not. It isn't a big deal for me at all, to be forward. It's not, for me, it's not a big deal. I know a lot of people really care about it. I don't really care. It's not a big deal for me. I don't mind either way. If it goes away, fine. If it doesn't, fine. That is so low on my list of priorities of us fixing the country. That's very low. If they get it to where, if you're what Trump is trying to achieve, those who don't know, he's trying to achieve the idea that if you come here illegally, birthright citizenship does not apply to you. And I don't care either way. I mean, some people, hardcore libertarians, no, it has to. People on the right, no, can't. That's not our biggest issue. Our biggest issue is knowing who's coming to our country. That's our biggest issue. Having control of who comes to the country. That's number one. Fix that, then I'll care about this thing. Fix that first. This is number 85 on my list of things. So, but yes, I do think my gut says this will be struck down. My gut says that the courts will go, I don't care what the idea was. What do the words say? The words are all that matters. Done. I went very long on that, Andrew. I'm sorry. I went very long on that, but that's my thought process on that. So I think that's going to be, that's what I think is going to happen. So yes. All righty. Let's see if I can go here. Marcus says, you thanked me for my membership. I met you at the AV 24 last night in Florida. You were such a nice guy and you were very entertaining. Oh, yes. I remember, Marcus, at the end of, I met you at a table, two of the people. What a table when I sat down at your table with you. I remember. I meet a lot of people. I do meet a lot of people. I do. But I remember almost all of them. It's weird, but I do. I don't always remember the name, but I often remember the stories that I often remember. So yes, I remember. Yeah. So yes, I do remember that we chatted 100%. So yes. Missy says, that's awesome, Margaret. Larry is a groovy dude. I am a groovy dude. There we go. I am a groovy dude. Absolutely. All right. Let's see. A lunatic says Ross has been pardoned and Trump directly attributed to libertarians and their support to get elected. You were a little bit late, but yes, we discussed. That's the first thing I talked about. And the second piece I want to bring up here is not all libertarians supported Trump, but probably about 500,000 did. Be very fair. About 500,000, give or take, did. Maybe a little bit more, depending upon if you are more of a small L libertarian, probably about 1 million did. And that's a lot. And he knew it. But look, he gained more than that, believe it or not, from RFK Jr. He gained more, probably gained 4 or 5 million from RFK Jr. He probably gained about 1 million from the libertarians, give or take. That's my guess, about in that area. Those combined, that gives him the popular vote. So he had to give us something. So he gave RFK Jr. Looks like he's going to give him HHS, and he gave us Ross. And he's like, okay, you guys get yours, you move on. So I think that's probably where we are. So there we go. All righty. Mark goes on to say, I worked for Loops for 40 years. Yeah, most recently I worked for RFK Jr. I remember. Yeah, yes, I know, Mark. That's the independent world is kind of where you want to go. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I remember. I do. Yeah. I know Diane said very well. Yeah, she's a friend of mine. We go to events together. I've got pictures with her together. I voted for her twice. She ran for Senate 2 times. I voted for her both times. So yeah, I'm a Sarah fan. The issue that a lot of people here in New York don't like about her is she focuses heavily on foreign policy. I don't mind that. I don't, because she is. What I like about Diane is 100% anti-war. Anti-war. 100% anti-war. and you're 100% anti-war, I'm on board. So yes, absolutely. Yes, 100%. So anyway, thank you for saying that. I do. I'm a fan, and I do see her often. All righty. Let me. Did I cover the birthright thing enough? I hope I did. I want to make sure I covered that. I'm not that concerned, but I think the birthright thing will be overturned. That is my guess, only because they tend not to go with what it was about. They tend to go with what is written down. So Kim says, Larry, I used to have memory like you have. I admire your memory. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. But I practice memory all the time, and I really love learning. So maybe that's why. I'm not sure, but maybe. So to do what I do the way I do it, you have to have a lot. You have to have good memory. You can't do this without it, right? It's impossible. You have to have good memory. Yes. Phil says, I think the anchor baby concept is somewhat of an incentive to travel. Yeah, and to be forward, I understand if you read the amendment how anchor baby works. It makes sense, like logically, it makes sense. But again, I fall back to intent. Is that what the people who wrote that amendment wanted or cared about or were targeting? I think it's obvious they didn't. They weren't saying, we want to do, let's make an amendment so people can come here, have babies, and stay. I don't think that was their goal. Now, back then, they probably didn't mind because the Civil War ended. We had lost, 800,000 men who couldn't work. We couldn't wait to get more bodies in. We were growing a country. We wanted immigration. There's no tomorrow. In 1870s, bring them all of them. Empty Europe. Come, we didn't care. But we were letting people in. So there was no requirement for anchor babies at that time, even though America wanted immigrants. Again, we just lost 700,000 workers in a 4-year war, and we're trying to rebuild the entire country. Of course we wanted workers. We wanted just literally millions of them, So we were happy to bring them in. So there would be no need for an anchor baby. Nobody was stopping them then. We're like, can you build a railroad? Get in. Can you go in a factory? Get in. Fine, let's go. We didn't care at all. So it wasn't there. You're right, Phil, but they're not. My thing is, I don't think they're going to care. I don't think they're going to care. So Michael says, my concern with repealing the birthright citizen is it will not grant babies born in the U.S. citizenship. Why would newborns be punished for the sake of parents? No, what would happen is there are two things. First off, I don't think they're trying to repeal it. I think they're trying to say it doesn't affect people who come here illegally. So two sides. If you repealed it, I don't think they're gonna, but if that happened, you would be American by genealogy. So if you have an American parent, you are an American. By the way, you still are. So if you're, say, born in France, whatever, you're born in France, you have two American parents, you just go to the consulate or the embassy there and say, my daughter, my son was born here in France, but we are both Americans. I want to apply for a citizenship to make sure he's a citizen. And they'll still give you a baby citizenship because by genealogy, you are. Both your parents are American. You are by default American. That's still true. Birthright citizen is an additional piece to being a citizen. You would not be a citizen without this. If your parents are American, I think only one is. You can apply for American citizenship. If both are, you are automatically American citizen. You just basically do paperwork, but you are a citizen if you're born to two American parents. So even if that was repealed, it's not gonna, but it wouldn't matter. The goal for this one is to say it doesn't apply to people here who are here illegally. So if you're legally here, meaning you went through the visa process or whatever the case may be, you have a child, that child is still American because you came here in the legal method. That's what this is about, Michael. It wouldn't change that, just so you're aware of that. Again, I don't think that's going to happen, but that's it. So yes, IC says citizenship is cheapened when it's easily accessible. Maybe, yeah. So Zach says, Mr. Sharpe, it's Zach Farkas. Just wanted to say hello. Hope as well. Thank you for everything you do as always. God bless you. Oh, thank you. Ryan says, Larry, didn't you have Diane Sarah's guest? More than once. Yes. More than once. Correct. Absolutely. More than once. So Phil says, my mom's family snuck over from Quebec. See, you wouldn't be a citizen now, Phil. Look at you. You'd be a Canadian or whatever. You see that? Look at that. I love that. All right. Let me grab some of these. Yeah, je suis américain. Maybe, I don't know. Absolutely, maybe. That's what you be. You be a Quebecer. Is that what they call them? Quebecer. I'm not sure I'm not sure what they actually say in that regard. So whatever that case may be. So, all righty. Let me see if I can move to the next piece I wanted to bring up. That part, the blanket pardon piece, I think was a problem, for sure. So let me grab a couple of people who are chatting. See if I can grab a couple over at over on Instagram. RMS Pro says, so unhappy day one, so upset day two. I don't know why you're upset. What did I miss? Richard says, Trump promised to commute Ross' sentence. Instead, he gave him a full pardon. That's true. He did not. He did not promise to pardon him. He didn't. He promised to commute, to do basically time served and go out. That's what he promised. He actually gave him a full pardon. So we did actually get more. We did get more than we asked for. That's true. Richard also goes on to say, suddenly the left loves the war on drugs. What? What did I miss? I'm not sure. Richard goes on to say, Richard's very active here on Instagram. He says, heresy against the government, sacrilege against the Federal Reserve. You know what? You're right. That's true. He was convicted on 2 crimes, heresy and sacrilege. Look at that. That's why he went away for double life. You know what? You're right. That's why he went double life. Yes. So the Heart is a Muscle asks, what are your thoughts on the pardons, specifically those of convicted of violence? And I brought it up. I guess this might have been an older one. I didn't cover it. I do think it was a mistake. I think it was a mistake. The blanket pardon was an error. He should not have done that. Again, not the end of the world. Doesn't mean Trump is over. I'm not going down that road yet. I'm not there. But I am saying that it is a problem. It is, he burned political capital he did not need to burn. And that is my issue. He burned political capital he did not need to burn. And he should not have done it. Cops are unhappy. Republicans are unhappy. A lot of people are unhappy. Rich goes on to say, he doesn't need to worry about burning political capital. He's get justice and fix the problem in a short period. He does need political capital, my friend. And be very forward about this. The political capital he requires is he still needs to get his people, confirmed for the offices he wants. He will still need bills passed. And yes, he does have a mandate. That's true. But that doesn't mean the Republican establishment just goes away. The Republican establishment is still, the swamp is still there. The swamp didn't go away. The swamp is still there. He still has to get through the swamp. He still has to get through Republican establishment, Democrat establishment too, but that was always going to happen, right? But this is an addition piece. So he does need political capital. That is not easy to burn. I disagree completely, Richard. I think he needs, this was unnecessary burning when he has limited political capital and he still has to fight the system. It hasn't gone away yet, right? I mean, you can see it. He's still doing trading back and forth with people that are going to be in his cabinet that are not. This is not over. This battle that he's going to be fighting is not. The war is a 4-year war. And you might go, but he doesn't have to run for office. Neither do the senators who were elected this year. Don't forget that too. There are multiple Republican senators. I don't know how many, probably a dozen, I'm guessing, but maybe more. I haven't counted actually, who were elected this year. They don't have to go for re-election for 6 more years. They're not scared of Trump. Why would they be? They were elected in the Trump year. They got 6 years to raise money, to figure stuff out. And then when they're going back for re-election, Trump's out of office. Someone else will be in office at that point. So he's got a bunch of those senators who could block a whole lot of stuff who do not care, who don't care at all. So while he also can say that, so can they. This is not as easy as one might think, Richard. That's all I want to make sure it's clear. This is not as easy as one might think. He still has a bunch of work to do. It's not that simple. All right, I covered a bunch of these. Let's see if I can keep going down with some more of these questions. Any more of these? Kim says, being petty is not the answer. Correct. Yes, absolutely correct. Phil says, burning candles to St. Malay so we'll have re-reform. You better burn a lot of them, my friend. You better burn a lot of them. Yes, Absolutely. So Kim says she's learning light, not just point and shoot. Yes, old school cameras are the best on photography as they're unforgiving. Correct. Well, my daughter already has a degree in art already. She graduated last November. And so she's doing a lot of new things to try to figure out where she wants to go. She's doing things like sculpting, cartooning, painting. She's even doing things like I forgot what it's called. Not knitting. Whatever that thing is when you do that to make stuff. She's doing that too. So yes, she's doing all those things. So I do appreciate that. So the casual Aaron says, what about my tips? I'll move to that now. The no tax on tips thing is a wonderful idea. It is going to shake things up like there's no tomorrow, because you can guarantee people are going to try their best to take advantage of that and dodge. Absolutely. Yes, 100% trying to do that. And I'm happy. Good. I love the idea. I love the concept of just eliminating. If you notice, when I ran for governor, I never really spoke about cutting taxes. That wasn't really a thing. What did I speak about? Eliminating taxes, right? Because if you cut tax, you can just raise them again. But if you eliminate them, you have to now create an entirely new tax. That's a whole lot harder. So I'm all about that. If you can end taxes, yes, I'm in. So, all right. That Liberty Lady says, oh, I was about crocheting. Yes, crocheting. I didn't know. I forgot that word. So yes, that's what my daughter's doing. She's doing all these different types of things, figuring out where her art is. She is also, believe it or not, she's also making clothes. I know, and tailoring her own clothes. Just amazing. I'm very happy. So she's doing all those cool things. Joel says over on Rumble, Chuck Schumer, who's been in office for decades, is criticizing Trump for not getting his day one promises met. Yeah. New York's been collapsing for 30 years. He's been part of it, and he's pointing finger at somebody else. Got it. Okay. Shredan says, I think people didn't think the Ukraine war would end on day one, but he's doing okay so far. No, people did think so, Shredan. He did talk trash. Look, this is one of the things I was skeptical on Trump about. I said there's no way he's stopping the war on day one. No way. I said it openly. I said it months ago. When you remember, I've said it here on this show. Remember Mike Valls was like, no, he's going to do it, right? And I was teasing Mike on it. Knew it would never happen. I follow the Ukraine war. I follow it. I know what's happening in it. I've been watching it, and I've been watching all the people who've been making big bucks on this war. There's far more money in Ukraine war than there is the Gaza war. There's money in the Gaza war too. Far more in the Ukraine war. I mean, at least 10 times, maybe 20 times more. I mean, so much more money in the Ukraine war. Tons of it. And then all the rebuilding, all the loans, all the financing, all the contracts, all the grifting. This goes back to what I was saying. Was it Aaron who was saying it on Instagram? Hold on, who was in this? No, it was Richard. Richard saying this on Instagram about Trump. Look, Trump has a mandate, but that mandate does not get past hundreds of billions of dollars of grift out of Ukraine. You don't get past that by being, I'm Trump. That's not how that works. There is no one who just walks in going, I'm going to get rid of it. No, that's not a thing. You got to get past so much money in that. Now, as I said before, if someone can do it, it's Trump. If it can be done, it's Trump. But it may not be able to be done. There's so much grift in that. You mean presidents try to end the Vietnam War? There was a ton of money in the Vietnam War. 10 years. How many years in Afghanistan? How much grift in Afghanistan? Was it $4 trillion for 20 years? 4 trillion? I think that's right. 3 trillion? Whatever. Trillions with an S. We ain't ending that war like that. No way. It's way too much money in that. And I don't mean to be flippant when I say it, but when you have that much money in the line, I don't care if you're Trump. I'm just being forward. So, yes. Richard goes on to say the thin blue line people get over Trump's pardons is political capital or spending. I see what you're saying, Richard. I disagree on that one. That was unnecessary political capital. I would have rather had my team, if I'm him, this is my view on this, right? Obviously, he's president. I'm not. But if he had asked my opinion, which he did not, but if he did, I would have said, get your team to go through every one of them. You got lawyers, you pay them. It's fine. Go through every one. The ones who attack the cops get commuted. The ones who didn't get pardoned. That's what he should have done. That had kept them satisfied. They'd have been satisfied. They wouldn't have been so mad because those guys would have still been done time and still be felons and still have convictions and still pay a price. They'd have been satisfied. He didn't do it. The blanket pardon made a lot of cops feel like, wait a minute, I thought, what happened? No, that's not how we work. That's so. Do I think it's the end of the world? I don't, Richard. I'm with you. It's not the end of the world. It isn't. But I think it was not worth spending. I think he could have used it someplace else. That's my point. I hope at least I'm clear. I know we disagree, but I hope at least my point is clear. So in either way, whichever, I do hope my point is clear. All right, let me grab some more of these if I could. All right, Kim says, I think something should be done about anchor babies. Birthright should perhaps be granted only to those whose parents come legally. That's the point of that. That's what's supposed to happen, right? That's how it's supposed to work. I don't know if it will. I think the whole thing will be just thrown out. That is what I think, but we'll see. We'll see. So, where am I? See if I can grab some more of these if I could. Let's see. IC says that amendment was designed for children of slaves. Correct. Yes, the amendment was designed. Correct, and that was my point. Yes, that was my point. Yes. Let's see if I can grab down here. Phil says, a text without context is pretext. Theology isn't even dogmatic. Theologians study the language and context of Scripture. Yes. Yes. And we don't do that. Yes. So Matt at War says, do the other countries give citizenship to people born there, or do we just have a bunch of stateless children? No. How it works, right? How it works is, and countries have been changing. And many that have been changing since World War I and World War II has been a big problem. Generally speaking, prior to World War I, you were a citizen of the country that your parents came from, regardless of where you were born. So if you had double parents, certain countries will go by mother. Many will go by mother. Some will go by father. Depends, right? Depends on the country or the state, whatever the place you may be, kingdom you are. Depends. You'd be a citizen of either your mother or your father. Birthright was not a thing. That was not like I'm born here was not a thing. If you go back, 400 years, was not a thing. So that's what it was. Many countries kept that, and it's been that way for a while. The problem is after World War I, so many people died, so many large nation states imported people. And after World War II, same thing. And even during World War II, they imported people. When so many men died, you import workers. Now the Germans and Japanese imported some workers maybe the way they shouldn't have. I'll just say that. And those people stayed. And some came voluntarily. The Germans have had a relationship with the Turks since World War, since it was the Ottoman Empire. They've been very good relationship. They still to this day have decent relationship together with each other. The Turks and Germans, decent. So many Turks came to Germany to work. Well, the problem was Germans didn't have birthright citizenship. So these Turks would be born, they would have children in Germany. They'd grow up, go to German schools, speak German. Some of them couldn't even speak Turkish. Never been to Turkey. They were Turkish citizens. Why? Because their parents were Turks. Turkish citizens. Living in Germany, Turkish citizens. Now, you say their kids would then have children. Okay, well, then they're Germans now. No, they're Turks. Why? Because their parents are still Turks. But their parents never been to Turkey. Don't speak Turkish. Correct. But their parents were Turks. So it became bloodline, genealogy. So you could be a third or fourth generation Turk, German actually at this point, be German, but still be Turkish. Same thing happened for Japanese in Korea. That was a normal thing. Germans have begun to change their rules now. Okay, like if you're like second generation, you're now a German citizen, that kind of thing. So they have a modified birthright in Germany, a modified birthright in certain countries. So that's how it has been in the past, right? It has been that you didn't just use, we did in the Americas because we didn't have enough people who could be genetically, I guess, is that right word? Maybe genetically. How could you be Brazilian when there was no Brazil? How can you be American when there was no America, right? So you had to be maybe born in the colonies, but in 1800s, unless you were, 13 or something, how could you be born in America, right? There wasn't America, it was only colonies. And the same thing, how could you be Venezuela? There was no Venezuela. So in the Americas, we created it. And also in the Americas, the only place that really had chattel slavery was the Americas, right? The other countries in the world didn't have chattel slavery, right? They had slavery, but for those who don't understand, there's a difference here, right? For those who don't get it. Some of you, I'm sure, get it, some don't. what makes chattel slavery so special? And in my world, so utterly horrible. Not that slavery is horrible. This is even worse. If you were a slave in the Roman Empire, whatever, right? You were always a slave because someone deemed you did something wrong. So as punishment, which is why, by the way, in America, you can still be a slave as punishment, right? It's just, you can still do it. And that's been, history has been that. You can be enslaved as punishment. That's been human history for 10,000 years, right? So you lost a war, or you didn't give whatever to the king, or whatever was the rule of the day. Okay, you're enslaved. But are your children enslaved? No, of course not. Why would they? They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything wrong. How are they slaves? They're not slaves. Larry, you're saying that a slave would give birth to a free man. Yes, that was the norm. There are stories upon stories of children becoming great and then buying their parents' freedom. Happened all the time. And slaves could even marry non-slaves. You could do that. That's why they had laws against it in America. That's why you have these laws. You have to create laws to stop people, because people will naturally integrate. It's what people do. So you'd have someone who could be like literally a Roman citizen, maybe fought in a war and gained citizenship as a Roman, and then marry a slave. So you have a slave. Well, that's a problem because you married a slave. So your slave says do whatever his or her master says. So what you got to do, you got to go make some money and buy her freedom. Now, even if she was still a slave, you had a baby, baby's not a slave. Baby didn't do anything wrong. Chattel slavery said, no, you're a slave because you're black. That's the reason. Wait a minute, did I do anything wrong? No. I was born? Yes. Therefore, are my children slaves? Are they black? Yes. Yes, they're slaves. Wait a minute, but that's not how it's been. Correct. You were a slave because you were black, and therefore your children were slaves. That's chattel slavery. That's animal. You're not even human at that point. You are just an animal. And because you have that situation here in the Americas, you have to have this birthright piece. I hope that makes sense. You understand why it's in the Americas and it's not in Europe, not in Asia. They don't have it either. Asia doesn't have this. Europe doesn't have this. Some states now becoming, because of so much immigration, they're creating rules in the last maybe 30, 40 years because of massive immigration. But prior to massive immigration, it didn't exist. I know I went long on that. I'm sorry, guys. I hope that makes sense. So I hope that was clear. I hope I answered your question. So, all right. Andrea says, I think if they want to change birthright, they need to amend the Constitution, which I don't think will happen. Agreed. I'm with you. And I think if you want to do it, you use the Constitution, because the judges are not going to be clear. You have to be crystal clear with what you're expecting to make that happen. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. Yeah, I agree. Sheridan over on Rumble says, I agree with Larry on Ukraine. Zelensky is now talking about U.S. military help to maintain the country after the war. Our war complex will profit after the war. Correct. There's far too much cash in this. Far too much. This is not just going away. Do I think it can end this year? Yes, I do. I think it can. And again, if anyone can do it, it's Trump. If anyone can, right? Because what Trump will do well, and people will be mad at him, what Trump will do, because he understands this, not just that, because it's who he is, right? And he's been doing it more, and people don't like it, but I'm kind of okay with this part, to be forward. He's openly grifting with like Elon and crew. And I know that sounds bad, but they grift. If you're going to do it, just be straight. I mean, I know it sounds terrible, but I'm looking at what I can get, right? I can get grift behind closed doors, or I can get transparent grift. Those are my only two options. I'll take transparent grift. I wish I had more options. That's all I got. I got two. Grift behind closed doors, transparent grift. I'll take transparent grift. And he's like, what he'll do, straight into your point, he'll literally just say, let's make some deals. Look, I know right now you're selling bombs, making cash. Okay, how about you make some cash building some skyscrapers back up and blowing up cities? How about that? And as I told you 1,000 times, and some of you don't get it, but I know you get it, right? That's why you're saying this. The military-industrial complex is not evil. It's apathetic, or as AC Alpha says, amoral. That's true. They just want to make cash without having to compete. That's their entire goal. Don't compete, lots of cash. That's it. That's all they want. Okay, you can do that. Let's do it by building stuff, not blowing stuff up. They'll go, okay, Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we don't care. Am I still getting my billions? Yes, you are. Do I have to compete for it? No. Done. Let's do that. So they don't care. So I think Sheridan's exactly correct. That's the way of making it happen. And again, if anyone can, it's Trump. And I know some of you are like, but that's not fair. It's terrible. You're correct. It is terrible, and it's not fair. But I would like Ukrainians and Russians to stop dying. I'm not concerned about virtue signaling. I would like them to stop dying. And if that means I have to have some transparent grift to have them stop dying, I'm okay. I'm okay. Yes. So anyway, let's keep going if I could. All righty. I know you got a couple more things I want to grab before I go on to the next one. James says, Canada's having election this year. Trudeau and his party are going to lose horribly this year. I think they are. Yes. Ryan says, Larry, I'm also a fan of Diane Sayre, mainly because I'm a foreign policy nerd. Yes. Look, to be forward, would I prefer her to be more also focusing on domestic policy? I would. But she isn't. That's fine. Again, I'll tell you what I can get. I got to compare Diane Sayre to Chuck Schumer. Not even close. Not even close. Yes, not even close. All right. Let's see here. Let me grab some of these. All right. Matt goes on to say, well, the blanket pardons just reinforce states to enforce or have the same laws as the Fed so they can get charged at the state and Fed level. Yes. But I would rather it be state, to be forward, than federal if I have a choice. Right? Again, if my choice is the Fed, the Fed system is so ungodly unfair. I know I consult in it. It's terrible. Many of you don't know this because most people don't know this. You probably watch a TV show, whatever, something, and you see at the end of a trial, first the government goes, this is why Matt's a bad guy. I want to reinforce what you heard today in today's trial. Matt's a bad guy because blah, blah, blah. Here's the proof. Please convict him, put him away forever. Got it. Then Matt's lawyer goes up and goes, this is why the government was wrong, why Matt's a good guy, blah, 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 done. Jury, good luck. Right? That's how you see it. Oh, not federal. Federal, government goes first. Matt goes. Feds get a rebuttal. How is that even close to constitutional? It isn't. How did some embarrassment, horrible judge went, that's a good idea. Why? I'm not joking. They get a rebuttal. Do you get a rebuttal, Matt? No. You just get screwed. You get caught in the middle while the government says what they want to say. You say yours. Government rebuts what you say. And the first and last thing the jury hears is the government. You're in the middle. That's how it actually works. Not just that. Judges choose your defense. Oh, you thought you did? No, judge does. Judge decides if your defense is effective or not. No, you can't use that. No, you can. We want to use self-defense. You can't. Why? Because I'm a judge. But it's self-defense. I don't care. No. Not joking. That's how that actually works. Yes. Why do you think I fight the government so many times? Yeah. You decide. Whatever. And then you don't get to pick your own jury. Judge can. Yeah. But Larry, I watch TV when you pick the jury. Yeah, in federal cases, in state case, not federal. Federal special, Matt. Federal special. They're always right, and they make sure of that. Remember, when it comes to federal, the fact that you're in court, how dare you be in court? The fact you didn't accept when the feds told you were guilty and gave you your plea deal, and you didn't accept it, right there, heresy. Right there, heresy. How dare you? We have deemed you guilty. Here is your plea deal. Take it, peasant. Confess your sins. Oh, you don't want to? Heretic. Now you must pay. And that's how the federal government works. So you are correct, and I'm okay with that. You have a better chance at getting a fair trial at a state level than a federal level. Better chance. But doesn't mean you will. But you got a shot at least. Anyway, I know some of you are like, what? That can't be true. Just check it online. I'm not making it up. Google it. Just Google it. So, yes. Zach asks, is Trump going to end federal income tax? Nope. That ain't going to happen. That ain't going to happen. Yep. IC says Biden does preemptive pardons, should be constitutional, and Trump answered with blanket. Yeah. That was the wrong response. I get it. You're right. That's what happened. I think Trump did a petty, tit for tat. I understand it. It was wrong. That's it. It was wrong. Andrew says, I'll make another bet. Elon will buy or be a prospective buyer of TikTok. Yeah. I think so. I'm with you on that. I think it's probably true. Yes, I think that's probably true. I'm not. Probably true. So, Andrea says many of his executive orders need to be codified so you don't get overturned by the president. Yes, and that's my point, Andrea. To the earlier point of Richard, he does need political capital because that has to happen. You're exactly right. He does need that, 100%. Yes. So, you guys have got me crochet, and crochet. Yep. Absolutely. A lot of crocheters in the audience. That's for sure. Yes. And I didn't even know. So yeah. And she goes on to say seamstress. She's actually pretty good. She's actually considering making some of her own stuff. My daughter doesn't like buying new things. Right. And look, I don't care. Whatever makes her happy. Right. She likes to buy vintage stuff and fix it. That's kind of her thing. So she has a coat that looks like some old British kid from the 1800s or something. And she just fixed it. She has these old gloves. She's retooled. She just buys old stuff and likes to retool it. That's one of her things she does. So all good. There we go. Andrea says, I was tipped by my employer for the work I do. Me too. I'm getting lots of tips. Absolutely. I'm tipped all day. I'm with you. No taxes on any of my tips. Yes, absolutely. So John says, I'm not sure what this means, John. Thank you for the $5, by the way, for the super chat. Do you mean Elise get the job? Yes. She's getting that job. They're not stopping Elise. I think you mean Elise Stefanik. I think that's who you mean. By the way, those of you who don't know, Elise Stefanik is used to be a New York state congressperson from North Country. Pretty popular. Actually wasn't very right-wing or wasn't very conservative when she ran. Now, North Country, for those of you who don't know, in New York State is relatively conservative compared to New York State. It's a very red part of the state. Plattsburgh isn't that red. Plattsburgh's kind of blue. But generally speaking, most of the area is a much more red area compared to New York State. Now, a conservative New Yorker isn't a conservative, say, Oklahoman. They're different, but relatively conservative. She was not a hardcore conservative. She wasn't even a hardcore Trump fan up front. Eventually, she became much more of a Trump fan, and she's become more conservative. But she still has a lot of not hardcore conservative people who remember her. So she's got it. She's good. She'll be fine. So yes. All righty. Grab some more of these if I could. All right. User has been banned from a word says Europe will keep it going. This part, you mean the Ukraine war. This is the second piece I have to bring up. For some insane reason, the French and British are all about keeping the Ukraine war going. Half of NATO wants to keep going. But the Germans don't. And if AfD, I don't know if it will, that is the alternative for Deutschland, if they actually take over, I don't think they will. I think there will be a coalition against them that will stop them from taking power. That is what I think will happen. I could be wrong, but I do not think they'll take full power. I think they will create a coalition of everyone else except for them to stop them taking power in Germany. Because if they do, they are all about saying, no more Ukraine, we ain't fighting no more. Nope. We're going to open up the pipeline, to build nuclear power. We making Germany great again. They all about that. All about it. Everyone else is like, no, stop it. Fight the Russians, Ukraine. So we'll see what happens in Germany. In fact, the AfD wants to go back to the Deutschmark. They're like, Euro? That's for chumps. At least they're not bringing up the Reichsmark. So I'll take the Deutschmark if I have to. I'll take it. We don't want them to go too far, right? When Germans go too far, everybody is in trouble. So let them just go right there. Stop at that point. We'll be good. So anyway, don't go too far, Germans. Just and that's it. That's all. Okay. Let me keep going down that road. I think you are right on that piece. Other piece I wanted to bring up here, though, if I could, I do want to bring up the idea of what I love the thing I heard, which was the idea of the broligarchs. Did you hear this one? Not oligarchs, the broligarchs. The broligarchs are, of course, the tech bros who are now, depending upon who you talk to, running the Republican Party. Is that really true? Maybe. I mean, some people will say that. So maybe that's what it is, right? And the broligarchs now are going to get their $500 billion and build out the greatest AI in the world. All right. I understand completely the worry and concern about, China has better AI than us and stuff. I utterly get that. I totally do get that. My worry is most broligarchs, they're like, we're going to make great AI and nothing's going to go wrong. Skynet can never happen. And it's going to make tons of new jobs. I'm not sure any of that's true. I understand it. Like, it's not out of nowhere. I'm not sure any of that's true. Because if you ask most of the broligarchs, well, what happens when there's like hardly any jobs? They don't say, well, it's okay because there's all these other jobs. They don't say that. What they actually say is, well, UBI. Oh, I wish I was joking. I'm not joking. That's their answer. You might say, but Larry, who's going to buy all the stuff? I guess government will because UBI. Their answer is UBI. UBI to keep the poor happy, and then the wealthy people can go do cool, wealthy things. Which, if you're wealthy, that's amazing. I get it, right? If you're wealthy, this sounds like a paradise. The poors get UBI. Shh, be quiet, poors. Here's your crumbs. Poors, be quiet. I'm going to go off and do cool things. I get it. If you're wealthy, that sounds amazing. But most of us aren't wealthy, so not so amazing for us. That's the problem, right? Most of us are not wealthy, not so amazing for us. But I think that's where their head is. So I am worried about this. Again, I like the idea of combating China on the AI world. I do. I think it's a wonderful concept. I'm not sure this is the right way, particularly if it's government run. New York tried this already. New York's gonna, in Buffalo, supposedly New York is going to, whatever, make the greatest AI, blah, blah, blah. Well, Trump just cut that right off. Remember all that money that my governor, Her Majesty Queen Kathy, first of her name, banisher of conservatives, destroy the middle class. She actually decided, well, she's going to put in Buffalo. She's going to put whatever, $1 billion, whatever she's going to put into Buffalo. Right? And it's going to be the greatest AI, whatever. I told you it wasn't going to be. It's a joke. It never works. And Trump said, oh, hold my beer. I'm putting $500 billion into it. And I got all my broligarchs. Kathy's like, I was going to be, no, you were going to be nothing. You're just going to fail anyway, Your Majesty. It's going to fail anyway. Now it's just obvious. Short goes on to say, the AI plan is interesting until they talked about individual vaccines for cancer. Yeah. mRNA, what could go wrong? Yes, Short what could go wrong? Nothing. I believe it 100%. Please don't ban me, YouTube. Please don't ban me, YouTube. On that road, Robert says, if America allows TikTok to continue existing as long as an American company owns half the app, this is another reason why I refuse to allow America to hijack my emotions to get mad at China. Valid point. To be forward, this TikTok thing has nothing to do with fear of China invading or something. Nothing. That's utterly just made up. That is right-wing propaganda. Left-wing propaganda is China loves us. They're not here. And it's not run by the government. Left-wing propaganda. Right-wing propaganda is they're going to take over the world with TikTok. That's right-wing propaganda. Both of those are wrong. This is only about two things. Both are power, but two separate aspects of power. One, the American government controlling all of that so they can put you in jail. And number two, the American government controlling so they can ban it, shift it, adjust what it looks like, make sure you don't see anything you don't like. So instead of China influencing, they'll influence you. That's what it's about. To be very forward, that's all it is. But Larry, you don't want the Chinese having all our data. First, they already have it. Half of you are buying crap off Temu or Shine or whatever. They already got your stuff, right? And if they want to buy it from Amazon, just buy it from Amazon. Amazon will give it to them. So they already have it. That's to think they don't have it. It's silly, right? Of course they do. And China has ownership in at least half of the freaking, if not all, at least half of the carriers. So they got cash in the carriers. They got it anyway. China doesn't care about it. That's why China would turn it down. They turn it off. They don't care. They've already got our info. So that's number one, right? Number two, if China has my info, okay, bad, I guess, because they had info. But China can't put me in jail. China can't can't freeze my bank accounts. China can't get me fired. China can't cancel me. American government can. I've watched it. The American government can literally put me in jail, take all my assets, freeze my assets for nothing. Just the American government can freeze all of my assets. So I cannot pay my bills because they accuse me of something and freeze it for a year or more. I want you to imagine your own life. If all of a sudden the American government debanked you in every way, all the money you saved is in the bank, all of it gone for a year, and you're not even convicted, what would happen to you? Most of us would be out on a street living with a family member. Most of us would. Most of us would. And the government can do it like that. Can China? No. They can send me some ads for crap I don't want off Temu. That they can do. I'll get over that. They can't put me in jail. American government. Lara, you feel safe with the Chinese government? Yes, they can't put me in jail. They can't seize my shit. They can't take away all my money and my assets. What do I care? All you do is send me ads so I could buy Temu garbage. That's it. And I'll say, no, I don't want to buy Temu garbage. The government will literally wiretap me. The government will literally decide I'm part of some horrible crime syndicate. They'll just decide that shit because they do that all the time. They'll decide that. And then once they decided it, we'll then decide I'm a bad guy, freeze all my stuff, and then I'll wind up being innocent. Well, not innocent. Not guilty. Big difference. I'll be not guilty of what they charged me, other things. But not that. I'll be not guilty of that. And then when I'm not guilty, they go, oh, great, Larry. Well, here's some of your stuff back, not all of it. And I know you don't have a place to live anymore, and you had to live with your family and friends, and you've been out on your ass for a year. But you know what you're going to do? You did do something bad. You were a heretic, so there's your punishment. So yeah, I'm with you, Robert. I don't care. It's not a thing. Both sides have propaganda. Neither one's right. So yes. So, all righty. Let me grab a couple more that's good. All right, you guys talking about Ukraine. Let me go down Ukraine for a little bit if I could. Phil says Ukraine's been a big proving ground for tech. 100% true. Yes, and yes. Ryan says Ukraine war has made military industrial complex and other contractors some serious bank. Yes, absolutely. Andrea says the corruption in Ukraine runs deep in the deep state. Yes, those are all true. So let me, if I can pick the one piece that you brought up, the technology. We are learning so much from the Ukraine war. Now, is it worth the lives of the Russians and Ukrainians? No. But just be forward, you're still right. It's still correct. We are learning a lot. Two big things have happened, maybe three total have happened from this war. The Chinese just launched a drone carrier. Is that right? I think drone, first of its kind. I didn't say aircraft carrier, did I? America has aircraft carriers. China has a drone carrier. That's because Ukraine. A drone carrier. A platform goes out in the ocean that flies drones. That's because Ukraine. So again, not an aircraft carrier, a drone carrier. So far, America doesn't have one of those yet. America's going to have drone carriers now. That's going to be a thing, right? But isn't now. We have aircraft carriers, right? We have aircraft carriers and missile cruisers. That's three things. Three big things we have. Aircraft carriers, missile cruisers, and submarines. Those are our three big boys, right? We've got other things too, but those are three big boys, right? Battleships aren't a thing anymore, not the missile cruisers. So those are the three things we have, that more than anything else. We have, again, lots of other stuff out there too, but those are three big boys. We don't have drone carriers. That'll be a thing. Not just that. The Marine Corps said, you know what? This tank thing, it ain't worth it. No more tanks. Marine Corps got rid of tanks. It's like, not worth it. We'd rather have our Marines in small units blowing a crap out of tanks with our weapons, trashing tanks. So we're like, Marines are like anti-tank crews now. No more tanks to Marine Corps. Gone. Yes, I am Marine. It is obvious. Yes. So, yeah, sorry. Yes, it is obvious. I am. So, and the Army said, remember that Abrams tank we were talking about building? Kidding. Just kidding. We building two new ones. We building this other type of thing we're going to use. I forgot what it was. M10? I forgot what it was called. Different type of tank. It's not a tank. It's some kind of like infantry fighting vehicle, whatever it is. And we're building an A3, which is a whole new type of tank, all because of Ukraine. Not just that, we realized trenches really matter. We didn't think that before. Now we have. So yes, I know I covered a lot in that one, but I wanted to make sure that was true. So, all righty. Let's see here if I can grab this. Robert says, with a blanket pardon, the right no longer has the moral high ground when it comes to law and order. There was real damage done on 1-6, and people got hurt. True. That's accurate. I think you're right. I think it was a mistake. I said before, I think it was a mistake. Yes. Lunatic says, when will humans stop virtue signaling? Morality is not universal. Never. I wish they would. You are correct. It drives me crazy. They are so worried about that. Straight N over on Rumble. Thank you for the $5. He rants, great show, Larry. Got to run. I'll catch the rerun later. Thank you, my friend. It will be on. Yes, absolutely. I appreciate the $5. Guys, I know I asked you to click the like button a lot. Please do it. Every like does count. It does move things forward. If you can share or repost, it gets more people watching. We need more people watching, more people watching. It does matter. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Please follow me. It does matter 100%. If you want to super chat me, you can super chat me on YouTube. It's great. You can also rant me on Rumble. Awesome. But very important, become a member if you can. Click that join button on YouTube to become a member for $5 a month. Or if you're on Rumble, you got to do that. You can also, but you must subscribe only during the live. That's it, during the live. Now, I know I've been telling you forever I'm doing a member show. I've been so damn busy. I haven't come up with anything so far. So I will. I know. I'm trying to move forward. That's what I'll say. So, yes, I hope that makes sense. So, all right. Let me keep going down here. Robert brings this up also. He says the Russia-Ukrainian war has been going on for a long time, even before Trump's first term. If he could have ended it, he should have, but he can't. I'm not sure he can't, Robert. I'm not sure that he can't. That may be a little bit too much. It's a whole lot harder than he thought, and his people have told him that now, which is why he's not talking about it anymore. Remember, he's talking about, I'm going to get it done in 2 seconds, and then his people are like, dude, what are you talking about? No, I'm going to call Putin. Dude, that's not how this works. You have not seen this amount of grift. Remember how you were going to end the Afghan war? It took you 4 years for that? Okay, well, we're here again. Remember all that grift in the Afghan war? Yeah, it's here in Ukraine too. You tried to end Afghan. Remember how hard that was because all that grift? It's here too. Doesn't happen in 5 minutes. There's a lot of people getting cash off that. So, yes, I'm not saying he can't. He can't now. Right now, that's not going to happen. But I think it's possible this year. I'm not saying it's out. I'm not saying it's out for this year. Ryan, thank you for the $5, my friend. The super chat. Instead of the military buildup like we did in the 20th century, we're going to have drone buildups thanks to China and demand technology. Well, China's already doing that, right? Already doing that. And they are using thousands of drones every day in the Ukraine-Russian war, thousands of them. And have different types of drones. They have drones that are connected, they call them tethered drones. Tethered drones are immune from some of the anti-electric warfare, electronic warfare stuff, because they're tethered. So there's no like radio waves, just a little tether. So I have a lot of those too. So they're doing those types of things. They're figuring different stuff out. Yeah. So different way. The tank have tank cages, because now what often happens is a drone. It'll take 3 or 4 drone strikes to get rid of a tank. One breaks open the cage. The second opens the cage up totally. The third opens the first rank, blows off the reactive armor, and the fourth gets through that. So it could take 3, 4, 5 drone strikes. And if you miss even one, when are you restarting, right? So if I blow the cage off of one, if I don't get into that same cage hole, I want to put another hole, another drone. So sometimes it used to take just one drone, one tank. That was like in the beginning of the war. Now it's often 3, 4, 5, 6 drones for one tank. So what they try to do often is they try to immobilize the tank. So they actually like hit like the tread, to immobilize the tank, or to get hit in a mine, so it'll get blown up. Well, when that happens, the crew will leave. So they often let the crew go. Not always, sometimes they fight the crew, but they often let the crew go. And when the crew goes, now the tank is stationary. So they can just use 1 or 2 drones to finish the tank off. So they destroy the tank. You might go, Larry, the tank's blown up. It lost its tracks. Why was it blown up? Because they recover the tanks at night. So the tank gets blown up, right? Or it hits a mine and the treads get blown off and it can't move anymore. Well, the crew abandons, right? If there's infantry, the infantry gets out and deploys. The crew will literally just run or walk back to the rear to get another tank or get another, carrier, whatever they're going to get, another infantry fighting vehicle. And then later on at night or later on whenever, another units will come out and pull that tank back, repair the treads, and run it back out again. In fact, now what they're often doing is they will literally have an assault with, say, 12 or 14 infantry fighting vehicles, assuming they're all going to get blown up, like they know it. So they go as fast as they can to get out there. And sometimes now they actually use motorcycle troops. I'm not even joking. They use motorcycle troops to rush the motorcycle troops out to draw out drones and such, to draw things out, to draw out fire, to draw things out. And it's hard to shoot the motorcycles because they're fast and they're tough. And do you want to use 1 or 2 drones to knock out one guy? That's expensive when you're Ukrainians. You don't have enough drones. So do I want to use a drone, or maybe 2? Because if I missed the first time, I got a second strike. So I got to use 2 or 3 drones on one individual soldier, or am I going to use 3 or 4 drones on a tank? So often they don't want to use, sometimes they will. I mean, they will send drones on one guy. That does happen, but they have to make a decision at the time. Do I want to do that? Maybe I don't. So instead, I'd let the guy go through. Maybe I try to use machine guns on him or something, and that's hard, but I get them out there. Once they're out there, now in come 12 infantry fighting vehicles. They all rush out as fast as they can. Whenever they get blown up, that's when the units get out. So you hope they get to the front line so that it can deploy right into the enemy. That's the hope. But if they get blown earlier, they get out earlier, they just move forward to the front line on their own on foot. They do whatever they can. And then once the battle's over, if they win the battle, the Russians win the battle and control the area, it pushes everybody back. So even the drone pilots have to leave their base and move their base further back. Well, they can't drone far enough because just the distance. At that point, of the 11 vehicles that have been blown up, the Russians grab them all, repair them all, do it again the next day. That's how it's working. I know I went long on that, Ryan. I hope that makes sense. So, yes. So we will be doing that for sure. Yes. All righty. Let's see here. Robert says, municipalities issue birth certificates. Then they should buy states for the federal government. So it will be so much work to create non-citizen birth certificates for each municipal district. Crazy amount of money. Yes, but passports and social security numbers are issued by federal government. But yes, you're right. But passports and social security numbers are doing that. So yes. All right. Anyway, I'm grab a couple more of these if I could. All righty. John asked, "Did Savannah get it?" Yeah, she will get it. I don't know if she got it yet, but she will get it. None's going to stop her. She's got it. Yes, absolutely. All righty. Margaret says, "I didn't finish my comment. If I lived in New York, I could have voted for you and Dan." Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I appreciate that. Every little bit I can get. So, Josh says, NATO wants World War III. NATO wants a reason to exist. NATO wants a reason to exist. That's it. That's what they want. And there's no reason for NATO to exist. There isn't. Kim says, it's funny, broligarchs. Yeah, I thought it was a good one. I do like that one. Rick says, I know Skynet. Yes, they're literally making Skynet, Rick. They are making Skynet. For those of you who don't know what Skynet is, Skynet are literally the bad guys in the movie, the Terminator movie series. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. Ryan says, the media in Europe have done a good job linking the AFD in Germany to the guy with the funny mustache. Yes. And it's support. Yes, they have. Yes. 100%. Look, to be forward, the AFD has an element of that in it. That's true. All of them are not that, but they do have an element of those people. That's true. Like this is not just built on nothing. It's not accurate, but it's not built on nothing. It's based on something, is all I'm saying. So yes, it is something. Andrew says, wouldn't broligarchs just be technocrats? Yes, but broligarchs sounds funny. You're not wrong, Andrew, but broligarchs is funny. That's it. It's just funny. Yeah. So here we go. Rick says 20-hour work weeks and flying cars. Here's the issue, Rick, to be forward. If in reality, people would have better lives, many of us would take it. That's just true. Many of us would, right? This was supposed to be the deal in China. China had told its people basically, let us just be authoritarians. Just let us be it. And here's what we're going to do. In return, we're going to give you a great lifestyle that you've never had before. And people went, oh, all right. And they basically said okay to it. And they've had a pretty good lifestyle. The government has kind of been honest with that. We're going to be authoritarians. We're going to tell you what to do, how to act, where to move, where to live. We're going to control your life. But in return, you're going to have a way better life. That starvation thing? Nope. Not going to happen, right? Where freedom? No. You don't get freedom. You don't get freedom of speech. You don't get that. No, you don't get that. But you do get like money and stuff that you get. Which you haven't had since like 300 years. So you haven't had that. So we're going to give you a lot of money. You're going to have a lot of that. Freedom, no, but money, lots of it. And most Chinese people went, okay, yeah, I'll take that deal. And most of them did. Not all obviously, but many of them did. They didn't fight back. Like, okay, I'll take the money. I mean, I haven't had freedom, so I could have no freedom and no money, or no freedom and money. I'll go with the money. And they did that. But to your point, Rick, that can't last forever. And once you don't get the money and I don't get the freedom either, well, I'm not so happy about you being, we're happy you being autocrats anymore. Not so happy about that. So the point is, Rick, if they actually gave us 20-hour work weeks and we all had flying cars and places to live, a lot of Americans would take that deal. I mean, I wouldn't. I want freedom. But I think, Rick, you're on the same page as me. But if they were actually to say, look, we're the oligarchs. We want to control over America. We're going to give you all nice housing, lots of money, 20-hour work weeks and flying cars. A lot of Americans would go, that's a good deal. Okay. They would take it. Just being forward, guys. I'm being honest. I think a lot of people would take it. So yes, a lot of people take it. Again, I don't want that. Yeah. So, NEK. All righty. Hal says, hey, Hal, my question is, will this Stargate investment have any conflicts with Foxconn? Yes and yes. Absolutely. Susan says, don't you want to alter RNA, especially if nuts get involved? You don't want to. Agreed. Yes. Yes. I'm with you, Susan. Yes. No. Look, there's a huge libertarian streak in me. Obviously, you see it. I wear it on my sleeve, right? If you want this kind of thing, Susan, you don't. I don't either. But there are people who do. Okay. If you want to put that stuff in you and take the stick and you do you. My worry is, and you have the same worry I know, is it won't be that. It'll be, oh, you don't want to do that? You can't have a job. You can't work. You can't go to school. You can't get this. You can't get a driver's license. You got to do the thing. You got to put that. Or you can't have life. You can't live. That's my worry. And if I didn't think that, I'd be okay with it. But I think we learned a lesson in 2020, didn't we? That's what's going to happen. There's going to be, no, you don't have to do it. But if you don't, you can't buy food. What? I got to eat. I'm not forcing you. I'm just saying you can't have food if you don't do it. So I can't eat. You can't eat. Sorry. No, can't eat. Can I have work? No, can't work. Can I grow my own food? No, you can't grow because you can't buy seeds. What? You didn't take the stick. Well, I'm going to die. Yeah, but I'm not forcing you. That is my worry, Susan. I think you're totally right. Again, if I honestly believed it was just, hey, you like it, take it. You want it, get it. I'd have no problem with this. But I think you and I know that's not how that works. They have proven to us that's not how that works. So Phil says the TikTok ban happened after there was opposition to the war in Gaza. Yes, that's true. Yes. Lorenzo says we don't want the Chinese to have our data, but yet the U.S. has the same info. Yeah, exactly. It's literally, we don't want China to have the data. That's our data. The Chinese might take advantage of our people. We take advantage of our people, not them. That's how that works. Yes, 100%. All true. Robert says, if America cared about China, they wouldn't have shipped so much American manufacturing there. True. Which allowed them to build middle class and reverse engineer American tech to learn how to produce it. True and true. Yes. True and true. Yes. Vivek says, that reminds me, end civil asset forfeiture. Yes. Also, Trump has taken a couple of Vivek's moves that he was talking about on the campaign trail. Yeah, but they gave Vivek the boot. They got rid of him. Remember that? All right. Speaking of that in AFD and that, I want to speak about Elon's salute. How about that? I'll say that. His salute. He was raising his heart to his audience, or so he says. Yes. Here's the issue I want to bring up here, if I could. Do you honestly believe that Elon is one of those? November, Alpha, Zulu, India. Do you think he is? If you do, and you always have, and we always knew this is true, we still voted for him. Wow. If it's true. If it's not true, you think he's not, why do you care? He's literally trolling you. Now, is it bad that he did it? I think yes, it's not a good thing. You don't want to do that. It's not a good thing. Yeah, I agree. Is the end of the world? No. No, it's not. I know people think the problem is with this one, more than anything else, is people are so upset and they are virtue signaling. They are yelling and screaming about this like it is the end of the world. It's not. Several reasons. Number one, if he is November Alpha Zulu India, if that's true, if that is true, and maybe it is, if it's true, too late now, right? Too late now. And some people already thought he was. In fact, they told us literally, their words were, that Trump is the H-man himself. He is the number one November Alpha Zulu India. He's the number one. He told us already. So, of course they'd be giving us the salute. Of course they would. He's that guy. Why are we surprised? And I know I'm being flippant, but I'm being flippant on purpose, because the last thing you should be worried about when it comes to Elon Musk is whether he salutes or not. That's the last thing you should be worried about. He is a broligarch. If there's any concern, it's about the fact that he's a broligarch. That could be a concern. That would make sense, that he may have an outside power over Trump or something. That's a valid concern. I could see that he may want to grift even more than he's grifting now. Okay, that is a valid concern. That he did a dumb salute to troll people? Not a concern. I don't mean to be mean. Now, is it insulting to many people? I'm sure it is. And to be forward, right? And I'll say this because I understand that there's different views on things. And let me give you what I mean by that. There's no way that I can understand how someone who's had Jewish relatives persecuted during that time in Germany, on what a salute might mean to you or feel to you, or those symbols mean. I can't. I mean, I can comprehend that it is hurtful or harmful or angry. I can cover that fact, but I can't have the feeling. Just like many of you have talked about the idea of lynching and how that affects many people who have Black family members who've gone through that time. That other people don't see it the same way, don't feel it the same way. I get that. And if someone did it to me, if someone had used that in a way to troll me, right, I would be upset. I wouldn't like it, of course. But it doesn't mean I have to act on it. It doesn't mean it's real. It could mean that I'm just trolling, right? And that's what I'm trying to bring up here. I do get that if you've had family or friends or people who you've loved or known or raised in that environment, that salute could really piss you off. Got it. I get that. Doesn't mean that it's just a troll. And also, not the most important thing. Did I like when, and I said it two nights ago with Mike. I said I didn't like when Trump, that Liberation Day, I didn't like it. Didn't mean that it was terrible or wrong. I hated the speech. But I have a different emotion on that. That's my emotion. It bothers me. But that's as far as it went. That's as far as I said. I said I didn't like it. It was emotional. I didn't like it. And I cannot like it. It doesn't mean I should take action or stop it or punish you in some way or be worried. Him saying that didn't change his speech at all. It's just something I didn't like. So I do get if you didn't like what Elon did. Makes total sense. I get it. Particularly, again, if you have had that in your family. I get that. It doesn't mean that it's anything but a troll. That's all I'm saying. So, yes. Ace said, did I make that term? I did not make up broligarch. I like broligarch. I think it's funny. I did not make it. I forgot. I heard it on. I forgot. Someone said it. I think actually the guy who said it was Steve Bannon. If I remember the story, someone said that Steve Bannon said it, and then I remembered it from that. I forgot where I heard it. But yes, I think that's what it is. So yes. Lorenzo says, I think Elon's a troll. Yes. Accurate. Yes. Robert says, Musk has said nice things about universal basic income. He's never said what the income will be. The broligarchs want UBI. They want the movie Ready Player One. They want that. They're like, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Let's do that. We will throw all the pores on UBI, and then we'll go off and do cool things. That's what they want. Yes, Robert, you're correct. They want that 100%. Arlene says, hi, Larry. Good to say, Arlene, how are you? Oh my God, Arlene, I haven't seen you in forever. Forever. Oh my God, it's been forever. So yes, hey, Arlene, good to see you. Yes, I'm still yapping. Last time you saw me, I was yapping, and I'm still yapping. I haven't changed. I'm still doing it. Yes, absolutely. All righty. Lorenzo says, AFD, we're not the guy with the mustache. The mustache has been shamed off. I'll give you something funny. I may get canceled in Germany for this, but the person who runs the AFD now is a woman whose name is Alice. That's her name, her first name, Alice. In Germany, you cannot say the phrase Alles für Deutschland. Alles für Deutschland means all for Germany, or Germany takes over everything. That's against the law to say. Alles, A-L-L-E-S spelling. But Alice is not against law. So what do they say? Alles für Deutschland. Alles für Deutschland. That's legal. So they're playing that game. They are exactly shaving the mustache off. That's accurate. That's completely accurate. That's how they get around it. So yes, that's how they get around it. 100%. So, all righty. Kate said, you guys talk about RFK Jr. Not yet. No, we haven't. I still think RFK is going to get confirmed. But I am a little bit worried because now the Democrats have kind of walked away a bit and Republicans are attacking him now. The establishment has gone out of its way to try their best to make sure none of RFK Jr.'s people get involved at all. They've pushed them away like there's no tomorrow. A lot, they pushed him away. So a lot of his people haven't jumped in. It's just him now. And if you remember, I talked about this months ago. My biggest fear, and I said it, my biggest fear was they bring RFK Jr. on, don't give him the resources of the people, and allow him to fail. Because Trump's done something smart in this case. Trump has said, you got 2 years to give me results. He said it with everybody. 2 years, I want results in 2 years. If they sandbag or slow RFK Jr. down, he won't have success. And they get rid of him. That's my worry. That is my worry. Yes. So I am concerned, Kate. I am concerned. It's being very forward. I am concerned. So yes. You guys are talking a lot about this. Okay, let me grab a couple of these if I could. You guys are talking a bunch about this. Feels about my MRAPs are resistant, but they don't stop. For those who know, MRAP is a mine-resistant armored personnel carrier. They're resistant, right? And they're expensive, and really only Americans have it, right? No one else really has those, right? What they have, remember, most of the tanks they're using are from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. They're 20, 34-year-old tanks. I'm not joking. That's most of them are, right? That new Armada tank has not come out at all. They have not, the Abrams are all old Abrams, the 80s and 90s, right? Even the most recent is probably the Leopard. Maybe the Leopard is probably the most recent. And that one's what, from the 90s, 2000s? I mean, that's probably the most recent one. Leopard 2s or Leopard 1s? I think Leopard 1s. They don't even using the most oldest stuff. So they're resistant. So, but even they aren't enough. So only Americans have those. So they go through. The MRAP advantage is when the MRAP goes through, it is rare, it does happen, that the actual people are harmed. But sometimes the carrier is still destroyed. But the people aren't harmed, right? That's the big difference. So yes. If I grab some of these here. All right. ACW talks about, yes, radio jamming. Correct. They're finding ways around radio jamming, right? They're going back and forth on those. Absolutely. And the problem is the Ukrainians don't have enough tethered. So as Ukrainians are using their drones, they have a higher chance of being jammed. What does that mean? Here's my tank. Here comes my drone. Radio jammed. Boop, falls out of the sky. Well, you threw your drone away. Doesn't work. So if you tethered, radio doesn't work, still hits. So there's a higher chance of Ukrainian drones not working than there are the other ones. So yes, AC says they're going to have anti-personnel missiles pretty soon. They're going to be cheap. So are the going to be the mini drones awards. Yes. Well, they already have literally grenade launchers as rifles now. It's like you're not firing a bullet when you're firing a grenade. Yeah, it's already happening. I agree. So I was going to say the motorcycle troops is bringing back the concept of the dragoon. Correct. They are dragoons. They're modern day dragoons. Yes. Fast deployment and dismounted fighting. So you may know the difference between dragoons and cavalry. There's a difference. If you've ever seen the movie, I think it's a 1980s movie. It's called The Light Horseman. It talks about the Light Horseman, the Australian Light Horseman who fought in Beersheba during World War I, which is the Middle East. Modern day, I think it's Jerusalem modern day. Or it's Jerusalem or it's Saudi Arabia. No, it's Jerusalem modern day. Beersheba is Jerusalem modern day. They're fighting outside of Beersheba. And the Light Horsemen are not cavalry. What's the difference? Cavalry, the horses fight in combat. The horses charge. The horses are in combat. If you watch the movie War Horse, there was cavalry. They charged the Germans. So they attacked the Germans in combat. That is cavalry. Dragoons, or light horsemen, the horses don't fight in combat. The horses move them to a place to fight. Now, they were replaced with motorized infantry. Motorized infantry is trucks. You take them to the place, get off and fight, versus mechanized infantry. Mechanized infantry fights in combat with infantry fighting vehicles. So that's the difference, right? So a dragoon in the past uses horses. The horses would come, drop the people off, and then they would go fight. The horses would stay in the back. Cavalry horses go fight. Motorized infantry, the truck moves the troops there. They come out, they fight. Mechanized infantry, the units fight there. So the transports get in there, troops come out, and the mechanized unit stays there and fights. So that's mechanized infantry. That's the difference between all three of those. Dragoons used to be horsemen who would do that. And you're right. Now, motorcycle troops are modern day dragoons. Accurate, Phil. You are a good historian, my friend. I don't know why I give you guys history lessons sometimes. I know some of you like the history lessons, some of you maybe don't, but I think it's kind of cool. So Kate goes on to say, what are the odds? Thank you for the $5, Kate. I appreciate the super chat so much, guys. Super chats help a lot. Thank you. What are the odds that all of RFK Jr.'s, JFK, I'm so accustomed to saying RFK. JFK files are released. Amara's Fox is blocked from the CIA. I was very disappointed when Amaryllis did not get her CIA post. She was going to be a deputy director. Is that right? I think what she was going to be, supposedly. Very disappointed. But that was my worry, Kate. When that began to happen, I started getting concerned. Are they pushing these people out? And I am a bit concerned again. I am. Not concerned. I'm not concerned for RFK Jr. I still think he's going to be confirmed. I still think he is. My worry is he's going to be alone. That's my concern. So what are the odds the JFK files were released? I actually think high. Why? Trump is doing something that some people aren't seeing, but I definitely am. Trump is concerned about being a popular president. That really matters to him. And there's a logical reason and emotional reason why it matters. Emotionally, it's him. He enjoys being adored. He enjoys the attention. That's him personally. But there's a logical reason too. The odds are very high that things are going to get worse before they get better. So the odds are high. If he actually goes to this, I'm talking about tariffs in a second too. If he goes into a tariff war, it is possible at the end of the tariff war we come out ahead. That's possible, but we may not. But assuming we do, assuming that we come out ahead, we may suffer early on. There's probably going to be a housing bubble that's going to pop here coming up here soon. How do I know that? My governor, Kathy Hochul, has decided that she all of a sudden cares about Americans and she's going to stop those evil finance people from buying up all these houses. They've been doing it for 10 years. And now she's concerned. Why? They're already divesting. They've been divesting for years. They saw last year. They saw in 2023. Their highest investment, I think, was 2022 or 2023. 2024, it went down to less than 20%. Now it's going to be like 9% this year. They're divesting already. Why? Because there's going to be a crash. Well, Larry, do you trust the people? How about the people who knew the fires were coming in California, who dropped everybody's insurance? Remember that? They knew. These guys know too. So it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. If he is a popular president, we will put up with it as a country. How do I know that? Reagan. When Ronald Reagan first took over from Jimmy Carter, things didn't automatically get better. They didn't. If you were around that time, early on, it was bad. But he was a popular president, and people believed in him, and they trusted him, and they liked him. So they gave him the time he needed to get us back on track. And it worked. That's true. If you remember, 1981 was not a great year, right, for America. It was not great. It got better. It did. I think 2025, not going to be a great year for us. That's my view. So he has to make sure that we're all happy and popular. I think he's going to get rid of that stuff because that'll make us, we'll love that. We will eat that up, right? We'll eat that up. I do think that he's going to eat that up, right? So anyway, the 1-6 people, a lot of his base did love that blanket. Made him happy. And that's the thing. So yes. All righty. Okay. Let's see if I can grab these if I could. Some more of these. You guys give me a whole bunch of these. All right. Margaret says, Elon is not a November Alpha Zulu India. I'm sorry, I'm talking like a kid. I'm on YouTube, so I talk like a baby, otherwise they cancel me. Norris Trump, the Dems are closer to fashion than anyone. You know, I'm glad you brought this up, Margaret. I got to touch this piece if I could. This is important. There has been so many attacks on Trump as being the H-man, as being a November Alpha Zulu India, that now no one cares or even believes it anymore. So even if, man, look, it is, but even if Elon is, no one's going to believe them. You've said, the Democratic Party has said, everyone who I don't like is the H-man. Therefore, nobody's H-man. So if he actually shows up, no one's going to believe him. They've cried wolf so much that it no longer matters. They've made, they haven't, I said this earlier. Remember, I said one of the things about this election. This election was an election that said, America finally said, stop scolding us. We're tired of being scolded. We're not going to pay attention. Stop. Finally, stop. And it's the only thing they know. If you watched, if any of you punish yourselves and watch Rachel Maddow, I know I do. I'm sorry, but I do. All she does is do that now. She doesn't stop. She doesn't stop. She went off on this. Of course she did. All she knows is shame and attack and cry and whine and call names and insult. That's all she knows. At no point am I hearing, here's the answer. No, I'm not. So yes. Kim says, RFK will be successful. He's not a loser. I hope you're right. I do. I really hope you're right. I'm just being, I hope you are. Yes. Cheyenne says, I think most people realize it gets worse before better. If Trump lowers gas prices, then people will be able to get by. Yes, well, look at Milei, right? When Milei got on board, it didn't immediately get better. It got worse up front and then got better. So yes, it got worse, then it got better. So, but again, we can be fickle. Cheyenne, we can be fickle. If people believe in you, then I think it works. So I think that's true. I think we have to believe in you. Guys, I'm going to ask again, please click the button known as like. It does matter. Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Please do so. Every single like matters. A lot of you are watching. A lot more likes if possible. If you can share this in any place, share this on YouTube, share it on X, repost this on Facebook, put it into a Facebook group. Doesn't matter. Any repost, any share is going to help. If you have not subscribed or you don't follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble, and YouTube, please do so. Wherever you're watching, make sure you're subscribed. It does, every little bit does matter. I appreciate I appreciate all of the rants and all of the super chats. Every one of them helps. The more that we make this happen, the more time I can spend on this and not working. I spend a lot of time working, sadly, but I do. Also, if you want to become a member, please do so on YouTube. Click that join button on YouTube. It's $49 per month. If you're on Rumble, you can become a member. If you subscribe, hit the subscribe button during the live. That's when it does matter. And also, we are only about 6 people away from 300 on Rumble. So if you have Rumble account, please head over there, click that subscribe button so that we can get more followers. We want to get to 300 if at all possible. If you can do it, that would be amazing. Guys, I will be on tomorrow. I promise I will be on tomorrow, probably around 7. I was considering not doing it, but I need to. But I need to. So I'm going to get back on if I could. Lunatic says, what is the Roman? Oh my God. All right. Let me grab it real fast if I could. The Roman salute is where the German salute of that time comes from. That's where it comes from. Remember, Germany had 3 empires or 3 Reichs. The First Reich, or the First Empire, was the Holy Roman Empire. The Second Reich, or the Second Empire, was Wilhelm II, was the last emperor. It was Imperial Germany that went away after World War I, which created the Weimar Republic. That went away in 33, 32, one of those two, in 30s, when the H-man created the Third Empire, or the Third Reich. So that, and the salute he took from the First Empire, which is the Holy Roman Empire, which is the Roman salute. That's where that comes from. So for those of you who don't know, that's why it was called the Third Reich. That was the whole idea. So yes. And yeah. And of course, Ryan goes on to say it was Hail Caesar, which what the Germans say, they said Hail somebody else, the H-man. Correct. So it was copied, right? The mythology of the 1930s German party was that it was the mythology from the ancient Roman Empire. That was the mythology they had brought, and other things also. So I hope that was clear. So yes. Kaiser, yes, was the emperor. Yes, correct. Kaiser Wilhelm II. That's correct. Kate, thank you for making it rain. $5 more. I appreciate it, guys. Every little bit counts. I appreciate it so much, guys. I really do. Guys, I'm gonna have to take off. I will be here tomorrow at 7 and Friday at 7 too. I may be doing an AMA on Friday, or I might do it on Saturday. I'm not sure which day. I'm trying to do more if I can. I appreciate it. Guys, thank you for giving me a bunch of your time. I will see you all very soon.